Fairy Tale from Europe. Bedtime story. Title: The Three Oranges. There was once a king who had a daughter as good as she was beautiful. But when she reached the age of 18, she suffered from a strange illness which no doctor could cure. The king offered a big reward of gold to anyone who could find a cure for her condition. A learned doctor said, "Far away, in the land where orange trees grow, there is a garden where snow never falls. And in this garden, there is an orange tree covered with white blossom, where 700 nightingales sing night and day. If anyone can bring 3 of the 9 orange hanging there, the princess can be cured. After eating the first orange, she will rise from her bed. After the second, she will become even more beautiful than before. And after the third, she will say, 'I will marry the only man who had brought me the 3 oranges.' So the word went out that the princess would be married to the man who brought her 3 oranges from the faraway land. In that country, at the time, lived a widow with 3 sons. The 2 elder sons were lazy and good for nothing, while the third was a cheerful, hard-working lad ready to help anyone in need. When the eldest son heard about the king's proclamation, he asked his mother for a basket and food for his journey to find the oranges. "It will be good life married to the princess," he said. Off he went, and for 7 weeks he walked from dawn to dusk till he arrived at the garden where the orange tree stood, from which hung 9 oranges. He plucked 3 of them, put them in his basket, and set off for home. When he was about a mile from the king's palace, he sat down to rest under a tree. An old woman came by and asked, "Young man, what have you in that basket?" He thought she was a nosy fool and frowned, and he said, "I have 3 frogs in the basket." "3 frogs?" repeated the old woman. "So be it." So she went away. That evening, when the youth arrived at the palace and brought before the king, he said, "I have the 3 oranges here, and I claim the hand of the princess." Eagerly, the king opened the basket, and out jumped 3 croaking frogs. The king angrily ordered that he be hanged. When 3 months passed by, and the eldest brother had not returned, the second brother asked his mother for a basket and a food to look for the 3 oranges. "I wish to marry the princess and be rich all my life." Off he went, and it took him 7 weeks to reach the orange tree, from which he plucked 3 oranges and put them in his basket. About a mile from the king's palace, he sat down to rest beneath the very same tree his brother had rested. Along came an old woman who asked, "What you have in that basket, young man?" He thought she was a nosy hag as he scowled and said, "3 snakes." "3 snakes?" repeated the old woman. "So be it." Then she went away. When the youth arrived at the palace that evening, he brought before the king, who eagerly opened the basket and out crawled 3 hissing snakes. In great danger, he ordered that the youth be hung. When another 3 months passed, and neither of his brothers had come home, the youngest one said to his mother, "With your blessing, I am going to the land of the orange tree. And if I can cure the princess, I may earn some money for you." With his basket and food, off he went walking for 7 weeks, till he reached the land where the orange tree grew. From the tree in the garden, he plucked the last 3 oranges and put them in his basket. When he was about a mile from the palace, he sat down to rest beneath the same tree that his brother had rested. "Young man, what have you in that basket?" The same old woman came by and asked. The young man smiled at her as he said, "3 oranges, good grandmother." "3 oranges?" she repeated. "So be it. And what will you do with those oranges?" "I'm taking them to the king so that his daughter may be cured." He had promised her hand to the man who bring her the 3 oranges. "But I am only a peasant, too poor to marry a princess. I shall be happy enough if he reward me with a little money for my mother." "My friend," said the old woman, "you will indeed marry the princess. But before that, the king will require you to perform 3 tasks. If you accept the 3 gifts I have for you, the task will not be difficult." She took out from her cloak a whip, a silver whistle, and a golden ring. "With this whip, you can chase away flies. With this whistle, you can call hares. And when this ring is placed on the finger of the princess, it will fit so tightly that she will cry out to the king, 'I shall die if you do not allow me to marry the man who brought me the 3 oranges.'" Taking the 3 gifts, the young man thanked the old woman and went to the palace. He was brought before the king, who eagerly opened the basket and saw the bright gold oranges. When the princess had eaten the first orange, she rose from her bed. After eating the second one, she became more beautiful than she had been before. And when she had eaten the third one, she said, "I will marry no one but the man who has brought me the 3 oranges." The king thought that the peasant lad was quite an unsuitable match for his daughter, and he said, "You can marry my daughter if you can drive away all the flies from my kingdom." "It shall be done," said the youth. He cracked the whip which the old woman had given him, and the sound sent all the flies in the kingdom flying far away, never to return. The king, still not satisfied, said, "You can marry my daughter if you can gather all the hares in my kingdom and bring them to my stables." "It shall be done," said the youth. He went to the field and blew the silver whistle. Instantly, from everywhere, the hare came bounding toward him, and he led the 300 of them to the king's stable. The king, still not satisfied, said, "Out of all these hares, catch me the one I want." The youth said, "First, allow me to put this ring on the finger of your daughter." When the princess had worn the ring, it became so tight that she cried, "Father, I shall die if you do not allow me to marry the man who brought me the 3 oranges." The king knew he could no longer refuse the promised reward, so he said, "You shall marry him tomorrow, my child." Immediately, the ring fitted her finger perfectly. The youth married the princess, and he gave his mother a fine house and servants, and she lived comfortably for the rest of her days. The end. Good night. Fairy tale from Europe. Bedtime story. Title: The 3 Oranges.